Hi everyone, welcome to Cruising with Kim and Jen, and today we're going to talk about some important information that we think and we see a lot of questions about. Charging phones and
charge cords.
Yes, and communication. How do you contact home?
Yeah, what you can take with you. It's been a lot of questions about it, and a lot of misinformation, and people just trying to find out, well, what about this cruise line? What about that cruise line? And it does seem to differ. So because we were just on Carnival, and I believe it looks like Carnival still allows you to take extension cords for your devices, but Royal Caribbean and Celebrity have changed, and you can no longer take different extension cords.
Yeah, so I mean, probably your best practice would be, I mean, like Kim said, on Carnival, we had cords going everywhere. There's four of us. It was like, oh my goodness.
We did.
We had a lot going on.
Yeah.
We found a couple things that have been extremely beneficial and that we are taking everywhere now had issues.
And this is really confusing because if you watch videos about, I mean, say you're going on a Royal Caribbean cruise, and you can look it up, and it will talk about, oh yeah, on the ships, they have numerous USB ports. We've heard this many times, even on the newest, biggest, best ships, Icon of the Seas and all of the big ones, say, oh, don't worry, there's plenty of USB ports.
Don't worry about it.
Well, we went on Icon of the Seas and some other big ones, and no, there's USB ports, but not if you have an iPhone.
That's right.
iPhone 15 or more, not just an iPhone, a newer iPhone.
A newer iPhone. So it's iPhone 15 or newer.
Yeah, because you need a USB-C cord and USB port for that. So they do not have that. They just have the standard USB-A, I believe they're called USB-A.
And that was my phone. So I had all kinds of ports to plug into.
And I did not. And so it's important that you get a charging station of some sort, but you can't take extension cords on Royal and Celebrity now. So you're going to have to take one of these. We got pictures here.
We're going to put pictures
one of these
here.
Blocks that's got several different USB ports, and many of these have the different kinds for the different phones, the different devices that, maybe you have a laptop that takes a regular USB and an iPhone 15 that takes a USB-C, but these have all of those.
Yeah, I mean, we bought one that it had 4 adapters in there, and so I could have 2 for my phone, and she could have 2 for hers, and they're only $20. They're on Amazon.
And that's nice, and they're great. But if you're somebody who wants to take your phone over to the bed, and there are USB ports by the beds on many of these ships, but not the USB-C ports. So I could never take my phone over to the bed.
It'd have to be charging.
Yeah, it would have to be on the desk charging. And so you might want to get some long cords.
Yeah, which is our other tip that we have, because 6-foot, 8-foot, 10-foot cords.
Yes.
I would definitely invest in a long cord and just roll it up, and then that way. Yeah. The other investment that we suggest, so the block, and then the long cords, then the rechargeable battery pack that you had saved you.
Yes, we have a picture here. There are many different types, but it's just you kind of charge your battery pack and take it with you as a backup when your phone's getting low. You just kind of, plop it on the back of your phone, and that's going to save you, because, if you're like us, we leave the room in the morning and we don't go back to charge phones. We have had to do that when we run low, but we don't really like to. But we've had to do that. We've had to go back to the room and plug in, because, like I said, I've got the USB-C thing on my phone that I've got to go back up there and do that. So just be aware, because when we went on Icon, we were sure it would have everything we needed.
Didn't even have a doubt.
The newest, best ship. People on videos that we had seen about it said, oh yeah, plenty of USB ports, no, not to worry there. Well, yeah, not for me, it didn't. So
So if you have these 3 things, I think you'll be fine across the board. And they're very small. So we have pictures. It's an investment maybe of $50, $60 for all 3 of those things.
And just make sure that your block or whatever you're taking doesn't have other plug-ins. Standard plug-in.
Yes.
It has to just be the USB ports.
Right. And then you'll be fine. And then they can go right on. The other thing we want to discuss just briefly is how to communicate with home. This has been another hot topic. iPhone to iPhone. We have not had any trouble with FaceTime.
FaceTime works really well.
Internet. I would say that's the easiest way.
Yeah, and make sure before you go that you have contacted your phone carrier company, AT&T, whoever you have, and get their cruise package, because they have like a economical cruise package that you can get, and then you're not going to be having roaming charges and all that stuff.
Yeah, you don't want that.
But, so FaceTime works really well.
It does, and when you're on the cruise, you need to set your phone to airplane mode. And so your text messages may not always come through, or they may be delayed, as well as phone calls. And it's something that you want to be aware of. But even more challenging is if you have family members that have an Android.
Yeah, I've not been able to be successful in getting a hold of people that do not have an iPhone.
No, iPhone to Android doesn't seem to work. Android on the ship, we've heard does not work very well, but we personally know iPhone to Android, it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
So be aware of that. If your kids are at home, or family members, or your parents or something, that you may have to have an alternate means for communication to be able to communicate.
Yeah.
And so I think those are our big tips.
Yeah. And it's good information to know, because it's better to know these things and be prepared than get on the ship and go, well, I don't have a way to charge my phone, or whatever.
Oh my gosh, I would be so upset.
Yeah, so upset.
Yes, and you assume that the cruise will have it. They don't usually have any of these things. And
they need to, but they do not.
So
get you a updated charging block, charging station with just USB ports. If you're going on Royal or Celebrity, Carnival still seems to be okay with the other portable charging stations that have plug-ins. So that's all we know for now.
So we hope to see you on a cruise upcoming. And like we said, we're going to be on Royal Caribbean Grandeur of the Seas next weekend, and can hardly wait.
Their oldest, smallest ship.
Yeah, I know.
But we're excited. So.
And our first inside room.
Oh gosh, yes, our first.
We're going to have a lot to
update. Our friend Tammy says, you guys will never wake up in the morning. It's so dark in there.
We won't, probably. We better set alarms. So, oh my gosh. So we'll have lots of information coming up. So we'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye.